Hi everybody, it is your Tip Tuesday live chat. I thought this week we would try something a little bit new. I wanted to bring the live chats back to the fan page because it's where they started, with tons of participation when we did them that way. But I realized the last time we did it with just text and typing and post is that it's kind of hard. You're gonna have to refresh a ton of times and a lot of the content got lost, which was a bummer. And I'm on video, right? We have the videos that come every 3 days of your workouts to your subscription. So why not do a blend of the Tip Tuesday video posts that I've done before in the past with the live chat. So I'm gonna do this video for you tonight and kind of talk you through the information, the basics that I want to present to you. Then you've got the rest of the hour to post and comment and ask your questions here, and I'll answer them live in this period of time. So a good little blend, I hope. So today was all about batch cooking, right? Okay, what is it? Why do you do it? How long does it take? And I come to the batch cooking topic and think, oh my God, it's just what we do in our house. Why is this so weird? But it's like anything new to other people. You don't have a concept of it because you haven't done it yet, or you haven't seen anybody do it. So what is it? Batch cooking is really simple. You just cook a bunch of food one time, ahead of time, for you to use during the week. It is really that simple. Any good coach and fitness trainer, even way back in the day, will tell you that results come because of preparation, and being able to handle your food ahead of time is really helpful to that. So there is a real fitness perspective on that. And then there's just like the basics of life. I am a busy mom, okay? So I have a company to run. I do work from home, but I have 2 little boys that are 4 and 8. I have celiac. Our entire household is gluten-free. People go, oh my God, how do you do that? And there's a lot of things that I don't eat or can't eat anymore because my system no longer tolerates it. So number one, initially eating home for us was just easier because I could control what I was eating. In the beginning stages and the healing stages, going out was really complicated. It's not now. But as we got into healthier and cleaner eating and I learned more and I understood more, it's just really important to process your own food, meaning make it yourself. And I know that we've all grown up without really learning those things, I think, because we have food sources that are really, really close to us and grocery stores and restaurants everywhere. So there's a little bit of reclaiming the way we are intended to eat by preparing them with your own 2 hands, okay? But we're gonna go backwards a little bit. So what is batch cooking? Batch cooking simply means that you are going to cook ahead of time for more than 1 meal, okay? So I do hours for the week. Now there are supplements in that week, but I really on Sunday batch cook and prep for the week, okay? So that's what it is. Why do I do it? I do it because it allows my house to really relax and de-stress. It takes an incredible piece of stress out of the week to not have littles at your heels when you're just finishing work and really need a couple minutes of quiet, but everybody needs to be fed or there's gonna be some massive meltdown in the house. There is so much food prep for the week that I just pull stuff out. They can start picking what they need, and it's a huge stress reliever. I know they're getting whole real foods. I know their foods aren't contaminated with gluten stuff. I know that everything in that fridge we can all eat, so there's no argument. It cuts down on the argument immensely. Because you start to learn what your family likes, and then you can kind of sneak some other stuff in that they can try, but it really creates this incredible calm in a household. So that's the main reason that I do it. Other reasons to do it, because if things are already prepped and ready and waiting for you, you don't have a lot of excuses left to not eat well and to make healthy choices. You've already spent the money, you've put the time into it, and it's already ready. You can't get food any faster than that. So either you've packed it and brought it with you if you're at work late or you're going in between stuff to and from the gym or wherever you're going. Or, taking your kids and shuttling them to all their after school stuff. You've got yours in the container with you and you've got snacks and things for them. It just cuts down on the panic, emotional eating of, I didn't pack anything, I don't have anything with me. When you batch cook and prep, you have taken the time, you've already done the thought, and it's already ready to roll, Okay, so it's a huge time saver in my house. We are incredibly busy. There's nobody busier than my house, by the way. Okay, and so then I can just assemble things. I can grab stuff for snacks. I can put their lunches together at night in under 10 minutes, and it's done. I do work from home, but I cram a lot into the day. So when I break for lunch, I just go home and assemble. I go downstairs, and it's really, 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 really easy. So those are just a few of the reasons of why you would do it, okay? It also limits you in the rails that you can run in for healthy eating. So it cuts down all the crap and the junk. And again, you can only eat what's there and what you've prepared, okay? How long does it take to do batch cooking? It really depends on the person and how often you've done it, how many times have you practiced, and what are you preparing. So if you go with my reset menu, even if you have no desire to actually functionally do the reset menu is totally training wheels for batch cooking. So as a subscriber, you have access to that all the time. It has a printable grocery list, and it has a printable 5-day menu, which is a lot of what my household is based on. So you print those off. When you get good at it, when you've practiced enough, it's 2 hours. Okay, so 2 hours to prep the majority of your food for the entire week. Shut the front door, right? So it cuts down on that. Oh, I'm gonna run to the grocery store and grab this, and then I'm gonna run home and cook and blah, blah, blah. So I'm all about efficiency, and I hate wasting time. So the reset menu that you get as a subscriber can also be batch cooking training wheels. You can just print it out and do it. Now, people who have done it, never done any batch cooking before or haven't really cooked before, have they emailed me or posted that it has taken substantially longer than 2 hours? Yes, okay, because they're learning all new things, and it's like speaking a new language if you haven't done any of this before. It's like anything else. If you're willing, for an adventure and you consistently do it, it just gets easier and faster. Typically, my batch cooking now is 1.5 to 2 hours, and I am really stocked for the week. Do we eat out about once a week? Yes. On the weekends, is things a little fuzzy as to what we do? Absolutely now. But we have food that carries us through, and I don't freak out, and I'm not running to and from the grocery store a million times and blowing our grocery budget. So what can you really prep cook? So there's batch cooking, which I consider anything warm. Okay, and then there's prep, which is like, being a sous chef for all of it. You're gonna chop and you're gonna have your cold stuff, and then you've got all these choices for assembly in the week, okay? So batch cooking favorites are the whole roasted chicken, because it's so easy and so good. Things that really, really last are the burger patties, any kind, bison. If you dig chicken, turkey, lamb, or grass-fed ground beef. The burger patties really last, for the week and are pretty hearty. Now I have subscribers and fans that go, I'm not doing the meat ahead of time. That's fine. If you all are willing to manage that and you don't want to prep the meat ahead of time, that's totally fine. The fish, you can prep ahead of time. I tend now to do it per meal because it cooks so quickly that I just plan for it. I do the chicken ahead of time, and I do the burger patties ahead of time. So there's lots of warm things. Anything you can roast in the oven. So my quick ones are the parsnips and the carrots and roasted sweet potatoes, just like big sweet potatoes that they last and you rewarm them and not too mushy. If you do get them too mushy, it means that you cooked them too long, and everybody's oven is a little bit different. So you can always come and ask me questions on the fan page or in the private groups that you guys are in for M and K for those specifics and to tweak them. But any roasted and cooked veggie, any of the crock pot meals that you can do those way ahead of time, and then you put them in absolutely lovely little containers that stack, like Tetris in your refrigerator. The prep. Okay, so I have like batch cooking and prep. My prep is all of my cold stuff. So I do a lot of raw salads in my house too, and a lot of raw veggies. I buy pre-washed organic greens because it is a time saver. Every single one, no, but a lot of them I do, and I think that's fine. I cut all the raw carrots, I cut cucumbers for the week because my kids love them. I wash all the little cherry tomatoes. And again, it's like running your own restaurant. You've got everything prepped and ready to go. So the prep part is anything cold and mostly salad, assembly fixings. But also in that prep, I consider like you could do a really good store-bought hummus or make your own hummus, like things that are cold that are just grab and go, great guacamole or good salsa, any of those things that are going to be layered materials for, a salad lunch or a quick dinner. So really you can prep and batch cook anything because everything reheats. Not everything reheats really well, and you're gonna have to figure out like what you're like, no. But honestly, the reset menu, all of that stuff reheats really well, and that is very much how we live our life in my household. What does it have to do with a healthy lifestyle? Well, it helps you stay in budget. So I have a lot of people ask, like, how do you guys do this? Everything's organic. Well, to be fair, when we went to all organic and gluten-free, our budget got a whole lot less. It was always what we argued about in this household. We never stuck to it. We always blew our budget. And when we finally went in the rails and said we are going to spend our money on organic things, on only grass-fed or wild-caught beef, we had much more respect for the food and we didn't want to waste it. So we actually have ended up spending less in the long haul and cutting our budget because we abide by at least 5 days of eating at home. We buy really wonderful, good quality things, and we don't want to waste them, and we don't want it to go to waste. So we come home to eat, or we pack it and we, take it if there's small outings that we have to go to. So you commit to a healthy lifestyle because the batch cooking, number one, is mostly whole real foods because you got to do it ahead of time. There's no packages in it. Okay, so you're not throwing things away. So it adds to a whole healthy, conscious living lifestyle because you're going with real. When you're eating whole real foods, you're cutting out the crap and the chemicals and the additives and the junk. And so you're more fit. I mean, that's kind of a hallmark of coaches and trainers long term, that they always have their little containers of food. And, back in the 80s, it was their baked potato and the chicken boob, and broccoli, because that's what my dad ate. And now there's so many other things that we can eat and do, and much more interesting meals and really nutrient-dense stuff. But because you're cooking at home, there is something to be said for cooking with love. And it's just more nutrient-dense because you're not putting a lot of junk in it, hopefully. Okay, so you're gonna cut your calories, you're gonna up your nutrient content, you're gonna get way more hydrated because of the fruits and veggies that are happening. Your system's gonna get to actually absorb all those nutrients, so you will end up, losing weight over time and gaining muscle mass because you're just eating whole real things. You can't go wrong with real food. So as a healthy lifestyle, we have figured out a way to cut down the stress around our meals in our household. We've cut down the stress because our budget is pretty fixed and we abide by it. That worked in our house, and we were kind of stunned that we ended up spending significantly less. And we don't fight at dinner time. When you're working with littles to try to get them to eat veggies or try stuff, if you lay it out kind of buffet style and say you have to pick two and they've got everything to choose from, they feel very empowered by that, and then you don't have to argue with them. So a healthy lifestyle, it helps us teach the littles. We've kind of built in this system of respect for our food for the adults too, and not just throwing things away because we spent more on it, right? And in the long run, that helps us. Real food and knowing that you have food ready to go makes it harder for you to hit those insulin drops. Okay, so really, debatable for sure, but you want to eat within a 4-hour window of each other. Otherwise, your, insulin levels kind of like crazy, and you get the hangry stuff, and all your hormones are out of whack. So when you have food already prepared to go, number one, you have great choices that you can't go wrong with at your fingertips. Number two, you're gonna avoid a lot of those ups and downs and the emotional conundrums of not having food at your fingertips. And you're gonna avoid grabbing the candy bar or the crappy junk, at the office or at the checkout line because you need to eat something right then. Okay, so it speaks to a healthy lifestyle in all of its parts. Yeah, that's mostly it. I mean, again, you don't have to be interested in doing the reset and cracking your own food code in order to want to batch cook. Batch cooking is just really efficient. Even if it's just you at home, not wasting food. When I was single, I was like, I'm cooking all this stuff and wasting it. You can start to pare down and go, these are my breakfasts for the week on the days that I need to be in a hurry and I've got to get out the door. And these are the meals that I'm coming home to. And when you eat at home, you really genuinely spend less than when you're going out to eat. You don't have to tip anybody. And, cost of food is pretty high when you go out. You're paying the rent and you're paying the service, and it's very different. So respect your food. Give it a try. It can be really fun. My kids totally get into it, and sometimes I like to do it alone. I'll put on my little Netflix on my iPad mini and, peel carrots and parsnips and get in there with the coconut oil on Sundays, and it's a nice little quiet time. And when you've batch cooked and prepped, the feeling of accomplishment is very empowering. So one of the things that most people really don't know, especially at this point, is that I really didn't cook before. The whole food portion of this has been a really interesting journey for me. So I had physical, mental health issues. I had anxiety and depression and, gut stuff and celiac going on. And I really had to do something to claim my life. So, food. And I always knew it was food related. But I didn't really cook, and so my husband totally laughs now that now I'm teaching other people how to do this. The reason I teach how to batch cook is because I think it's really accessible for people who are scared of the kitchen or scared of cooking. Putting things in parchment, putting things in baking dishes, and shoving them in the oven and walking off, for an hour, anybody can do that. And again, the more you do it, the better you get because you're practicing. So I did not intend to teach food and cooking. But feel very empowered to do so because I was totally scared of the kitchen and had my reasons and relationships with food. But it was so fun now to look at the things that we create and come out of our kitchen. And my husband's like, I'm not touching the kitchen because what you make is really better. Okay? So when you get into things and you start to really love it, it can be a whole lot of fun and it can be a wonderful creative outlet, plus really nourishing and bolstering and empowering. I think that's the one I really want to drive home, is that cooking in your own kitchen, being responsible and claiming your own nutrients and how a body is really supposed to be bolstered and nourished and how it's supposed to function is incredibly empowering. And good food brings on great energy and good moods more often. So it is a huge quality of life lift. So that is your Tip Tuesday mini vid on batch cooking. Might have been a little long. And you guys get to ask any question you want to now, and I'll answer here live until 10 p.m. Central Time.